Another big day in Bitcoin land. A new ETF application has gone in. There's been a near 20,000% surge this year in cryptocurrency investments in one of the world's key economies, and banks just can't help themselves. They keep piling into crypto. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing. So if that's a topic that you would like to learn more about, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Gently tap on the thumbs up button, and of course, click on the notification bell to know when I put out a new video. So let's go ahead and turn over to the charts to get started off with. So as you can see here, Bitcoin is still just kind of range bound, stuck in this area, floating back and forth between $30,000 and $40,000. It seems to like this particular area. We did spend some time here back earlier in the year as well, but I think the time spending here now is obviously much more significant in terms of, being a new range that Bitcoin is actually setting up. But, we're still trending well below all of our key moving averages. We'll just bring up the 50-day moving average here as probably our nearest area that we want to really see Bitcoin tackling above. So that's around $38,000 at the moment, dropping basically every day while the price is remaining so stubbornly down as it is right now. Now, we did have that nice rally coming back up the other day, but now the challenge is for Bitcoin to try to move higher to retake some of these key moving averages. The 58-day, so if we see, or sorry, the 50-day moving average, if we see Bitcoin climbing up above that, well, then we need to see a close of a daily candle above $38,000. Now, that's not too crazy. It is only, at this point, a 10% gain for Bitcoin, which could easily happen at any point. But until that happens, we'll just be keeping an eye on this. But I think we're starting to get to that stage here where we might start reclaiming some of these key moving averages, especially if the Wyckoff accumulation pattern is going to be playing out in our favor here, unless, of course, the whales are just faking us out here and it's all gonna crumble to pieces in front of our eyes. But I'm more bullish than that. I think that we are getting ready to reclaim some of our key moving averages here. The 50-day is just the first one on the chopping block to be reclaimed. Then, of course, we have to conquer $40,000 resistance, which would also curiously bring us above the 200-day exponential moving average. And then when you talk about taking back the 200-day moving average, only a couple bullish news stories I feel like would push us over that. But we're in that stage of the market where there's so much fear in the market that, people, we get this good news coming through and it's just not pumping the markets like it would have back here, right? When we got good news stories, holy cow, the market goes crazy. I think this particular daily candle was the day that Tesla announced their Bitcoin buy. So that's a good news story in a more optimistic market time that pumps the market up. Right now we're getting good news stories and the market's kind of like, it's okay, but nothing worth getting too excited about. Anyway, here's a very important indicator I wanted to share with you. This is the Puell multiple. So every time that the Puell multiple has come down into this green box has been an excellent time to buy Bitcoin. In fact, it's only been down here 5 times in the past. Every single one of those times was an excellent time to buy Bitcoin. You can see here in late 2011, great time to buy Bitcoin. You can see here in about 2015, this was the low of the bear market after the big run up in 2013, 2014. Well, I guess finished in 2013, started coming down in 2014, but you can see right there, boom, great time to buy Bitcoin. Again, we saw it over here. This is the low of the 2018 bear market. Great time to buy Bitcoin. We can see here, this is the 2020 sell-off. Great time to buy Bitcoin. That was the COVID black swan event that happened. And then this over here. This is the fifth time that this highly reliable indicator has shown a buy signal. Because when you get in that green box, Basically, what Bitcoin is trying to say to you is buy Bitcoin. And that is exactly what has happened right now. Now, we've talked about the Peel multiple before in terms of trying to determine if this bull run is over or not. And actually, we tend to use this particular indicator as an area of saying, well, the market might be cooked, the bull run could be over when we get up into the pink box. We never got into the pink box during this particular market cycle. But we have come back down to the green box, which is a buy zone. We never reached our sell zone, so to speak, but we did come back down to a buy zone. So make of that what you will. Historically, it has been a pretty powerful indicator. There are some people, of course, who are pointing out that, hey, look, because of the current situation going on with Chinese miners and stuff, this particular signal this time may not be as reliable as it has been in the past. So take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but historically, it's done pretty gosh darn well for Bitcoin investors. By the way, if you need to buy some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, some Cardano, some Polkadot, some Polygon, whatever your fancy might be, you need to get yourself an account over on BINANCE. Literally the best crypto exchange in the markets. Use the link down below in the description to start your account, and you're going to get 10% off of your trading fees on Binance, and you'll get up to $700 in bonuses when trading futures on Binance. Let's get into the big news. Another Bitcoin ETF application has been filed, this time by ARK Invest. ARK Invest, obviously the famous firm. They've had some incredible ETF products coming out into the market. The ARK Innovation ETF, the ARK Robotics ETF, the ARK Genomics ETF, all these different things have been very, very good to investors over the years. They're now trying to get a Bitcoin ETF as well. Now, obviously, at this point, I think they're the 13th Bitcoin ETF to be applied for. So the SEC's got a stack of Bitcoin ETF applications that they're looking at right now. Someday, they're going to freaking approve one of these. It's not a matter of if they're ever going to approve a Bitcoin ETF. It's a matter of when they're going to approve a Bitcoin ETF. Never before in the history of Bitcoin have we had so many Bitcoin ETF applications. And it's not just about having a lot, and they could reject all of them, obviously, if they're bad applications. But these are applications from some of the biggest, most respected companies in the investing world. ARK Invest, Fidelity, and on and on. We've got some incredible players here trying to get a Bitcoin ETF passed. One of them is going to be successful. And then once one has made it through, the others are going to pile through as well. This is a big deal. I know we have Bitcoin ETFs in Canada. I know we have Bitcoin ETFs in Brazil. Brazil is worth around just a little under 1% of all global equity markets. Canada is worth, I think, just a little bit over 2% of all global equity markets. The United States is 54% of all global equity markets. So getting a Bitcoin ETF approved in the USA is a damn big deal. Seriously, that is a flood of money beyond what you can probably imagine. It opens up so much potential liquidity to come into Bitcoin. All these investors who are never going to go to Coinbase and buy Bitcoin, or all these institutions who are never going to go and buy Bitcoin, they will buy a Bitcoin ETF. And the proof's in the pudding. Look at the Canadian Bitcoin ETFs. They've been super popular so far. We've had, the biggest one now has 21,000 Bitcoin in. And again, the Canadian markets are tiny compared to US markets. Now, when the gold ETF was approved back in the early 2000s, it's a good parallel here to talk about with Bitcoin. The market cap of gold at the time was around, I think around $2 trillion or something like that. And then afterwards, shortly after the ETF was approved, gold basically went on a mega rally and then went up by over 400%. That is likely what's going to happen to Bitcoin. We're going to unleash a flood of money, the likes of which the market has never seen. So this is why I keep talking about these Bitcoin ETF applications and the Bitcoin ETF news, because when it comes, it's going to be massive for the markets. Next, let's talk about banks. Banks, man. Well, this one's particularly about Morgan Stanley. So their investment bank, they've announced that they've got 28,200 shares of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, according to a recent filing with the SEC, in their equity fund. Now, Morgan Stanley is no stranger to Bitcoin. They've been Bitcoin curious for a while. They're helping, for example, the New York Digital Investment Group with their Bitcoin ETF application. So they've been into Bitcoin. But we're definitely seeing a lot more high-level interest from major financial institutions about Bitcoin. So it's coming slowly but surely. But I wanted to bring this story up as kind of a lead-in to this next bit of news here. This is crypto plans from different banks. So banks are starting to offer cryptocurrency services. And I just want to preface this conversation, as I so often do when talking about banks offering cryptocurrency services. I personally do not want to buy my Bitcoin at my local bank. I don't want my bank to hold my Bitcoin for me. But I think that we would be talking counter to reality if we didn't admit to ourselves that there's a lot of people who do want to do that, who will feel comfortable doing that. It's the same reason that a Bitcoin ETF is going to be so big, because people don't want to go to Coinbase. They don't want to get a Ledger wallet and hold their Bitcoin by themselves. But they've got the money and they want exposure to the asset class. So with all these banks starting to offer cryptocurrency services, what does that really mean? It means that we have more money that can come into the market. We have more liquidity for the market. We have more fiat on-ramps for money to come into Bitcoin. This is important. This is important, right? When you start to get to the situation where you can walk down to your local corner bank and buy $500 worth of Bitcoin, then things start to be pretty serious in terms of actual adoption of the Bitcoin asset class, but also of just the potential money that can come in. Remember, there's like $17 trillion in cash sitting in US savings accounts, earning 0.01% a year interest. You can't tell me not a fraction of that's going to come into Bitcoin when it's as easy to buy as just logging into your internet banking and clicking buy Bitcoin, because that's how it's going to be. We've seen the New York Digital Investment Group, for example, rolling out some really big news this year. In fact, they've had 3 major announcements that basically let almost any bank in the USA offer Bitcoin to their customers to sell it, to buy it back, and to do custody for their clients. So that story, those 3 stories actually from the New York Digital Investment Group, haven't really come to fruition yet. They've built the rails, they've built the roads, right? But they don't have any cars or trains going on them yet in terms of actual clients adopting it. But you will. That's going to happen. Because we are already having big banks adopting this. And, the little banks, they look up to the big banks. We see the likes of JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and Citigroup adopting cryptocurrencies right now in one way or another. So you can see, for example, JP Morgan is considering crypto products for wealthy clients. They're currently enabling futures trading, even though they're not doing spot trading or crypto custody accounts. Goldman Sachs, they're considering crypto custody accounts. Well, they will not offer spot trading. They'll offer futures trading. Well, they're currently doing futures trading, and they are considering doing crypto products for wealthy clients. Morgan Stanley is, as I mentioned, they're, savvy on Bitcoin. So they're already offering crypto products for their wealthy clients and crypto futures trading, and they're considering spot trading and custody accounts as well. Citigroup considering all of the above. And look, just these big banks represent so much of the pie in terms of total banking access in America. Bank of America also doing crypto futures trading, UBS doing crypto products for wealthy clients, but we still don't have all the big banks on board, and they're coming, right? They're starting more and more. We're seeing announcements on a regular basis every week or every 2 weeks. Another major bank announces some kind of crypto service for their clients. Starts at the top, comes down afterwards, right? The wealthy clients get in first. They launch these trading desks for their rich clients to get exposure to this stuff, and eventually it makes sense for them to move it farther down. So we're going to see an incredible amount of money coming in from all of these people. Remember, there's like $17 trillion or whatever sitting in these bank accounts in the USA, earning basically no money. So the potential for Bitcoin to go to the moon, thanks to all this money coming in from all this adoption with banks, is actually a pretty big potential, even if it kind of goes counter to Bitcoin. We do have to recognize that at least it's bringing a lot of money into the market, and hopefully people will buy a bit of Bitcoin from JP Morgan or wherever, and then they'll learn about Bitcoin, and then they'll say, hey, actually, I don't want it to be sitting in my JP Morgan account. I want to hold on to it personally. Hopefully that's where we go with it anyway. And the final story for today: despite regulatory uncertainty, Indian cryptocurrency investment surges 1,900% in just 1 year. Freaking incredible. I absolutely love this story. So this is data from Chainalysis. They estimate that the total invested in cryptocurrency across India grew from 200 million to 40 billion over the last year. Remember, last year we were talking about how the Supreme Court in India basically told banks that no, you actually have to let people get access to cryptocurrency. You can't keep preventing them as you had been. The cryptocurrency industry in India won a massive victory in the Supreme Court. Well, since that time, approximately, we've seen $40 billion come into the market just from Indian investors. Chainalysis estimates that 15 million Indians are currently exposed to cryptocurrency. Very, very exciting. What's also interesting, 15 million people out of a country of 1.7 billion or something like that. That means a lot more potential cryptocurrency investors come out of India. But this is what happens when regulators get out of the way. People are able to come into the market. The demand for cryptocurrency assets is through the freaking roof. India is proving this. As soon as those barriers were lifted, as soon as the restrictions got out of the way, look at how much that market boomed and how quickly it boomed. The demand for these assets is through the roof. Young, tech-savvy people are getting on board. They understand the value proposition of this technology. They're using, Polygon to earn yield, and they're buying Bitcoin for long-term wealth preservation and all this stuff. It's incredible what's going on right now in the market. And some people are still super bearish and thinking we're going down to zero. Look at what's actually happening. Look at the numbers. Look at the adoption that's happening. This asset class isn't going anywhere. Because, 15 million out of India's 1.7 billion, and if I've got the population of India wrong, correct me. I know I'm on the internet right now, but correct me down below in the comment section. Feel free to do that. But a tiny fraction of India's population has started investing in cryptocurrencies. The entire continent of Africa is massively underrepresented in crypto. I know we have some real hot spots like South Africa and Nigeria that are big time into crypto. The entire continent of South America, all of Central America, again, massively underexposed. And we're starting to get really great stories out of there, like El Salvador adopting Bitcoin and the Bitcoin ETF coming out of Brazil. But we still have so many more people that we can bring in. Remember, there are billions of people in the world who want access to financial services, but don't have bank accounts, can't get bank accounts. But they have a mobile phone. They have a phone in their pocket that they can use to get Bitcoin on, that they can use to access decentralized finance, start lending out their dollars, start saving, right? Access gold, whatever it might be. It's incredible what we're talking about. There are literally billions of people that we can still bring into this market. 15 million people in India was able to bring in $40 billion. What happens when we talk about bringing the next billion people into the market? Think about that. Mega bullish. Mega bullish. We've only at this point for crypto really seen some level of investor interest in some of the big developed economies, the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, whatever, where people are largely looking at this as buy Bitcoin, hold on to Bitcoin, But we actually have this use case for cryptocurrency, the technology, not just Bitcoin, everything down from that, to actually completely help people all over the world just leapfrog over banks. I mean, I think El Salvador is such a great example of how this is going to happen, right? We're going to see a situation where a country where 70% of people don't have access to banking services, but there is on average 1.46 phones per person in the country. Everyone's got a mobile phone. The majority of people don't have bank accounts. But now all of those people can have access to financial services, payments, borrowing, lending, credit, earning, all this stuff, thanks to this technology. The current market cap of these assets is way less than it's going to be when we start to see higher levels of adoption. We're still so early on the cryptocurrency adoption curve. So stuff like this is what keeps me so damn bullish on crypto overall, even though we go through these periods where we get a bearish trend and everyone's saying it's going to go to zero. But man, I do remain a cryptocurrency bull. Anyway, surprise, surprise. Lark's bullish as usual. Your question for today: is there any circumstance in which you would keep your cryptocurrency at a bank? Let me know down below in the comment section. You know the answer is no for me, but I'd be curious to know if you would ever consider doing that. Let me know in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.